Hey y'all, this is Amani Sawari coming at y'all with another couple commentary on Love After Lockup Season 3, episodes 44 going into 45. Let's cheers. We got Mr. Clarence over here. And let's quickly dive into this discussion. We're going to be talking about Rachel and Doug. I am shooketh to the core. Like, I was shocked. I thought we would at least finish the season on a happier note with Rachel and Doug. They started the season so gun-ho, like so linked in, tuned into one another, and I just really thought that we would at least end the season on a happy note. Well, you know how you got couples where you end the season solid and then there's like some news that you get like months later after the season's over, but at least they ended the season solid. That's what I wanted for Rachel and Doug. Like, in my heart of hearts, I knew that there was going to be trouble, drama, just based off of the way that he treated her, talked to her and his son. But I was just hoping that we could make it through the season. Unfortunately, episode 44 was death to Nicole and Doug. We didn't even start the episode on a high note. Okay, Rachel starts the episode pretty much like done. So in episode 42 and 43, Doug was being really romantic. He was getting what he wanted from Rachel when it came to sex, food, family, like actually plugging in with her network, like anything that he wanted from her. I want to meet your friends. I want you to drive me to my family members in Kalamazoo where I was, linked up and locked up. I want you to get me bologna. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. She had it for him. And so even though they were already married after a few months of them riding each other while he was incarcerated, they got married while he was in prison. Even though they were already married, he proposed to her in episode 43. He took her to Belle Isle, which is really cute. Yo, shout out to Detroit, shout out to Belle Isle. Belle Isle is a very chill, very cute, very quaint spot. It's where all the families have all the family reunions, and it's where you go out there. Like, I've never really heard of any proposal stories out there. Like, people usually go out there to kick it, to chill, to drink, just to, you go out there and it's good scenes, good vibes. And so he took Rachel out there, on the engagement vibe. And she was shocked. She was really excited. She drove herself to her surprise. Okay. And was still asking, like, where are we going? Like, bro, you have it in the nav. Don't stop. Come on now. Just be realistic. So they get there and he gets on one knee and he proposes to her, and it's just like this really sweet moment because everybody, or at least every woman, dreams of how their fiance is going to propose, and you always think it's going to be some planned out really sweet surprise. And in a lot of situations it doesn't work out like that, especially if someone's incarcerated. Like, if you want to get married while you're incarcerated and you met them while they're incarcerated, then there's no planning a surprise. Like, they're going to ask you over the phone. That's the most romantic way, unless you can get a visit and they ask you in the visiting room, but they're not going to have a ring for you. They might put a lifesaver around your finger. That's the best, that would actually be pretty romantic. A lifesaver ring in the visiting room. Wow. But Doug proposed at Belle Isle, so we're thinking that they're flying a high. And the next thing you know, Rachel is self-documenting. It looks like she's got her camera in selfie mode and she's just raging around the house, showing us, like, Doug is gone, all his stuff is gone. He made sure to take all of his clothes and electronics, the PlayStation, all the stuff that she bought for him to live life with her. He took it and he left. And it was really sad for me, but the redeeming part about it that I kept thinking in my head, well, at least little Dougie is there. At least she has little Dougie. At least, little Dougie was being cared for by his aunt, who we saw when Doug went to go see his family in Kalamazoo. The aunt is just off the wall. Like, she was throwing little Doug under the bus, throwing big Doug under the bus, calling out everybody, calling him trash, saying, he's going to be back in 2 months. You wait and see. Like, she told the sister who raised little Dougie, told Rachel that her husband, the father of her nephew, ain't shit. And that he's a lying cheater. And that he's going to be back in jail. And he's going to leave her. That's what she told Rachel within days of her brother getting out. Within days of Rachel's husband getting out, she was confronted by his family with this blatant negative disrespect. And Rachel did not take it in. She did not receive it. She refused it. She just dismissed it. And if I was her, I would have did the same thing. I'd have been like, look, you guys have known him when he was born and bred here. You guys are from the same environment. You guys have your own negative history. I'm not going to take that in and bring that into my household. I'm not going to take that negativity. So I would have did the same thing. But Rachel tells us in episode 44, I should have listened. And it broke my heart, because it was just like, dang, like, this is Rachel's second marriage to someone who's formerly incarcerated that ends with them just dipping out on her. Like, what pattern is she persisting with? Like, what is she attracting? Like, what does she look for when she looks up these guys on the pen pal site or whatever? Like, what is it where she's getting these guys who are just, slipping in and dipping out? So that really hurt my heart that Doug just left. But what hurt me even more was the fact that little Dougie was no longer in the picture. He was gone. Like, his room was empty. His games, his clothes, his stuff was all gone. Even he left. And she didn't say where little Dougie went. She didn't say if Big Doug took him, or if they went at the same time, or if she just woke up and everything was empty. She doesn't say that. She does say that before Doug left, he punched out the cabinet and told her, I love you because this could have been your face. At least I didn't punch you in the face. And she said, when he said that to her, at that, she realized that he wasn't shit and that she didn't want to be with him anymore. And she didn't want to live a life where her husband actually thought that there was a real possibility that he would cave her face in like a cabinet. So thankfully, she had the realization that she needed to exit that relationship before it got violent for her. But it was just really unfortunate that she had to invest so much. And we see this by the time we meet people in Love After Lockup, they've already invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into the person that they're in love with. And the person coming out has already invested, months of time, sometimes years of time and effort and care and emotional investment into this person that they're talking to. So it is like really a heart jerker when they separate, and it's just so, like, I don't understand, like, what argument did they have? I can't help but think that it was over little Dougie, because Doug was really harsh on his son, and he treated his son the way the prison treated him. The prison raised Doug. He was incarcerated at 17 and came into adulthood in prison. And so the way that the prison treated him throughout his young adult life, throughout his rearing, throughout his understanding and comprehension and learning of the world, that's all he has to offer to his son. And my hope was that he would at least take heed to Rachel, knowing that Rachel has another perspective and is loving and has spent months with little Dougie before Doug got out of prison. Like, she took on custody before Doug was released. As his wife, she took his son in and waited for him to come home. Not knowing his son at all, having no prior relationship with the son or his family, she took him in. And that was love. And she fell in love with little Dougie like a son. She even said in the episode before the scene ended that she was open to taking Dougie in, even though she didn't want a relationship with Doug anymore. So it was obvious that little Dougie was, though he came with the relationship, his relationship with Rachel, little Dougie and Rachel's relationship, was something that fed them both as they learned who Doug was on the outside, and something that really replenished and allowed them to reflect on their individual relationships with father slash husband Doug. You know, so I think that them being able to reconnect in Doug's absence is something that could be healthy for them both. And thankfully, at the end of the episode, when they did the season recap, they did let us know that little Dougie is in Rachel's care and custody. So that was like the silver lining of it all, that they are together. Little Dougie moved back in. He brought his stuff back in. And even though Doug's not in the picture, Rachel and little Dougie still have each other. And little Dougie has like a secure, comfortable, loving, warm, healthy, nurturing environment to grow up in, with people or with a person that cares about him and who he is and wants to develop him, you know, him emotionally and physically and mentally and spiritually. Like Rachel has all of that for little Dougie. So I'm grateful for that for them, even though it was a really, really, really tough one to watch. Again, they're in MDOC, Michigan's Department of Corrections, where parole is 2 years long. So if Doug is paroled to Rachel's house, he's going to have to find a way to get back in her good graces, or find a way to change his parole address so that he don't get caught up. The episode did not address his parole. It just pretty much said, like Doug, when he got a chance to speak, just said, you know, I wish nothing for the best for Rachel, like it didn't work out. And it just sounded like such a, like, what did you do? What did you do to her? Like, why aren't you taking accountability for anything? Like, take responsibility for your role in the drama, shit, chaos that you stirred up in Rachel's life. And he obviously isn't. So, you know, Doug is just, he is what he is. He is what he tatted on himself, white trash. And it's sad that, you know, he had to just smear through Rachel's life. Like, he didn't have anything to offer, except for, I guess, his son. Little Dougie was a great addition to Rachel's life, but like as Rachel gets back on the dating scene, like now she has a son, someone else's son. So hopefully we hear more about Rachel and we get some more like resolution about what's going on between Rachel and Doug, and how little Dougie's holding up, and if he's able to maintain a relationship with his father, even though he's not in the household anymore. So all that is up in the air. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you think that Doug's going to come back to Rachel? He knows he had it good. He knows he had, like, you know, the best situation that he'd ever had exiting prison when he was with Rachel. So do you think that Doug's going to come back? And what do you guys think about little Dougie living with Rachel in Doug's absence? Again, this is your girl, my name's Sawari, with the Love After Lockup commentary. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.